We are live.
Okay. Hi, everybody. There's Steve in Mimo Live. Let's see. I should probably do that. Hi, Steve. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Allison. Can you hear me?
There we go. I can.
We
Switch
have
my
closed
controls.
loop. Nice. Yeah, thank you, Mike, for noticing. Virtual
our,
Max Doc.
Virtual
Ellen.
Max shirts.
Hey,
Yay.
Alan. Good to see you here.
Alan, he made it.
Alan.
Every time. I bet that never gets old for him.
It probably doesn't.
So did you hear? I don't know if you heard what I was saying. You know, we could give. Oh, good. Mike Price got his yesterday. We could give Lindsay talking privileges, and Forbes could come on from San Diego. You know.
Could we?
I don't know whether we should. I'm just saying that we could. All right.
Cheers, Podfeet.
Oh, and Kevin got his. So I have a new mug for my my gin and tonics. I have a Notorious RBG mug.
RBG.
Oh, he's an iPad zombie right now. All right. Oh, that was our deal for letting us watch football. Yep, my friend Lori gave me this. All right. Well, it is probably time for roll call.
I think it is.
Actually, well, we'll do roll call, and then I'll tell you something very exciting. Is Jill here? Yes, good.
Yes.
And Mike are here. This is going to be very exciting. Roll call. We've got Alan and Brett and Kevin and Frank and Jill and Mike and Rick and Sandy and Steve and Michael. And who's in the sidebar there? I see Brett again. I never understand why some people are there twice. Maybe they do it both ways. And, of course, Lindsay. And where are Wheels again? Where are Wheels? We lost him again. Are you still there, Steve? Well, that's interesting.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, there you are.
I just had to hit my cough button.
Oh, okay. So I keep getting USB accessories disabled. Unplug the accessory using too much power. I keep getting it all the time, like when I don't have anything plugged in. Something's a little odd here. All right, Kevin's checking on Wheels. Yeah, we didn't see him last week. I'm getting nervous. So the exciting thing is that this week, Mike Price wrote me a huge, complicated Keyboard Maestro macro, which will allow me to put in chapter marks. This is going to be epic. Epic, I tell you.
I'm looking forward to this.
It's going to be.
Tell me when you're exercising, and I'll go full screen with Hindenburg.
Well, yeah. No, I don't. Actually, can you go full screen with my entire screen, or no? Actually, you know what I'll do?
Hold on.
Oh shoot, Mike. Hang on. I gotta fix it. It's still set to copy from Safari right now, so I need to fix it. Go one moment, please. Actually, I can show you guys.
Yeah.
Share. Make Hindenburg full screen there. I am not in Mimo Remote yet. No Mimo Live host found. Why is that?
I don't know.
I don't see you on the network.
Do you have Wi-Fi on that? Is it an iPad or an iPhone?
Yeah, it's an iPad. Well, okay, you're on your own. All right, so I am going to edit Grumpy's chapter marks here, and I need to switch down. Podfeet will want to change this to Mars Edit. Are you okay? I just heard a boom.
Yeah, that was me adjusting my mic.
Okay, there
Delicately.
we go. Go back to edit. Okay, this should work. Wheels is busy. Okay, well, as long as he just doesn't care about us, that's fine. Just want to make sure his health's okay. You weren't supposed to keep that name. All right. So let me arm a track here. The reason I said it, Jill will be excited, is Jill uses Hindenburg. And she does a lot of chapter marks in her podcast. So this could be very exciting. All right. I think I'm ready. Actually, let me just do a quick little test record. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan doing a test recording. Okay. Test record. Hi, this is Allison. There we go. It's perfect, did you say? All right, that's a little loud. Let's go back up here. Okay. There we go. Okay, what is that? Get rid of that thing. There we go. All right, gonna save it. Kevin heard it. And as always, Brett, that must be Brett in there with Oh, no, it was Jill with a GIF.
Oh, Jill with the GIF. Or is that?
Get
it must be a GIF, not a GIF, if it's Jill.
Yeah, otherwise it would be Gil
Jill.
with a GIF. Uh-oh, John. John's here. Having
Hello,
technical
John.
difficulties.
Well, he
Well,
seemed to
glad
have
that
overcome
never
them.
happens to me. All right, here we go. I'm going to start recording. I can't mute you because
I'll do
I
it.
can't get Mimo Live to come up. Mimo Remote. What? Oh, there you are. There you are. My battery's at 3% on my iPad. That should be fine, right? No, I never guess right on which one of these. I want you to get rid of that one that we don't use. There we go. All right, Steve is muted. Here we go. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Sunday, October 4th, 2020, and this is show number 804. Well, this week, our guest on Chit Chat Across the Pond Light is Jill McKinley of the Start with Small Steps podcast, which you can find at smallstepspod.com. You may already know her from her many fantastic tech reviews for the NosillaCast. You would know her as Jill from the North Woods. I'm a fan of the Start with Small Steps podcast, and I thought it'd be fun to have Jill come on and talk about, what's it like to start a podcast in 2020? All of my experience and knowledge about starting is like 15 years old, so I was kind of curious what it's like now. We talked about why she wanted to do a podcast in the first place, all the fame and fortune, what kind of hardware and software she's using for her recordings. There's a big surprise in there, how she makes her podcast feed. We get into the style of, do you read versus bullet points, and what kind of editing do you do? And we talked about community engagement and whether to obsess on download statistics. We learned from Jill how important it is to her to always give attribution to her sources. I love talking to Jill about this because, first of all, she's so enthusiastic about her topic, and she's a total nerd. That's basically the perfect combination in my book. Look for Chit Chat Across the Pond Light in your podcatcher of choice, and of course, you can listen over at podfeet.com. And be sure to subscribe to the Start with Small Steps podcast as well. All right. You know what? This may not work. Well, I'm going to do a demonstration here. It's not going to be the best demonstration because in this case, I don't have the right kind of title, but we're going to do it anyway. Okay, make me full screen on...
You got it.
Hindenburg. Okay, so you can see I've got, this is Mars Edit sitting on top. And keep an eye on this right here. You're not going to be able to see the alerts or hear them, but I think it's probably right there. So watch this. I'm going to hold down Control, Option, Command, Shift, H. And it just switched over to Mars Edit. I'm going to copy link. It beeped at me. It just made the beep again. I'm going to hit Command C, and now watch. Ready? Nothing up my sleeves.
Oh, that's
now, the
impressive.
Now, it says podfeet.com because that's all that link said, but it's CCATP, and we'll do CCATP.
So, but you have other links that have actual names?
Yeah.
Besides the link?
Yeah.
Okay.
That one, this is just kind of a funny one. Let's do that. That wasn't a great example. I'm going to show you guys every time, probably forever, because this is so cool. Maybe if we have time after class, I'll show you guys how long this thing is. It's insane. Oh, Mike says, "Whew."
Well done, Mike. Yeah, live
Sandy
demos can sometimes not turn out well. This one did.
Yeah. That one was good. All right. So I am going to do I got two big things to read. Big things.
Big.
Because I made a mistake.
What?
I thought I had another thing to do that I didn't have to read, and I couldn't remember what it was. And then after I posted a blog post, I figured out what it was. So, but guess what?
What?
I need to do another chapter mark here.
Oh,
hang on.
Let's go full screen.
Hang on. Let's go full screen. I'll preview this one. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to come back and get this make screen recordings and have them instantly available online using Zoom. Okay, here we go. Control, Option, Command, Shift, H. Every key on my keyboard.
How many fingers do you have?
Right click, copy link, Command C.
Wow.
That makes me so happy.
Well done, Mike. Now, when are you going to show us
awesome?
the length of this code?
Well, we should
Later?
save it as a treat. Yeah,
Okay.
to see. I mean,
Those
because
people
otherwise
that-
nobody will stay to the end,
Okay.
right?
Right.
All right, here we go. Okay, muting Steve. Okay, here. All right. Turn that down. My secondary fan. It's sweltering and disgusting in here. All right, here we go. I was asked recently by a software developer to provide feedback on their redesign of their new user interface. It's a product I know really well and I rely on regularly, so I jumped at the chance to provide any feedback I could. They had a list of specific tasks they wanted me to execute, and then questions about whether I found it difficult to find the commands, was it clear and intuitive, and what could be changed to make it easier. One of the really tedious parts of doing testing like this is stopping the task and then filling out a form with your explanations. I used to do this at work for internal development projects, and the forms never had enough room to write, they didn't allow any free-form explanations of the experience, and they didn't allow for me coloring outside of the lines. Because I always colored outside of the lines. I had a gift for clicking on the thing they didn't think somebody would do and finding something wrong. Anyway, this developer suggested a far different approach to giving them feedback, the feedback that they desired. They suggested that I record my screen and video from my webcam at the same time. I think the strength, is that they can watch my mouse as I move around, see if I hesitate or choose the wrong menu first, and at the same time catch the expression on my face. You know, am I looking pleased? Are my brows furrowed in confusion? In addition to the video, they wanted me to capture audio as well, which would give them kind of a running commentary on what I was experiencing. As you probably know, I'm quite familiar with capturing video with the high-end tool ScreenFlow, and I very often make short video clips with tools such as Parallels Toolbox's built-in screen recorder. Sometimes I use PopCo, which is also a really good way to just do a quick screen capture. But when I read their suggestion to record video, I had to really decide, how much do I really want to provide this feedback? Because that would mean a lot of work. It's not that hard to make the recording itself, but then you have to figure out the right compression so it's not like a terabyte in size, and figure out how and where to share it with them. But in the email from the developer, they suggested I try out a free service for screen recording from Loom at loom.com. You know me, I immediately jumped to see what this Loom business was all about. Spoiler, Loom is amazing. Before I get into the details of how Loom works, the most important thing to know is what makes it stand out from all of the other screen recording options we have at our disposal. The big difference is that as it records your screen, it appears to be also uploading it to the Loom web service at the same time. I recorded over 15 minutes straight, and when I was finished, the video, recorded at 1080p resolution, was already available on Loom's website and ready to share with a link. That was astonishing. It blew me away. Okay, now that we know that we care about Loom and why, let's get into those details. First, I created a free account and I was offered a download of the app to my Mac. There's also, of course, an app for Windows, one for iOS, and one for Android. I'll get to the mobile app in a bit, but let's start with Loom on the Mac. Loom installs as a normal app, but you can also choose to see it as a menu bar app. I only had 22 menu bar apps showing and another 12 hidden on the second bartender menu, so of course I installed Loom in my menu bar. Loom launches with 3 large and intuitive buttons across the top: Screen plus Cam, Screen only, and Cam only. Starting with Screen plus Cam, you get the option to choose between a full screen recording, a single window recording, or you can select an area to create a custom size. As you would expect, your next options are to choose which camera to record the view of you and which microphone. For most people, this will default to your built-in devices, but if you have a big old mic or webcam, you can choose them right here. If you choose the Screen plus Cam option, while you're configuring Loom, it will show a small circle in the bottom left corner of your screen showing your webcam. If you hover over the circle, even while recording, you can drag that circle around to different positions on screen and even make it a larger circle or full screen. Before you start recording, you also have the option to upload a static PNG image to the displayed in the webcam circle instead of your live video. Once you've got one or more images uploaded, during recording, you can switch the webcam view to that static PNG. This might be a good way to maybe put up a splash screen of your company logo using the full screen option, or if you're doing a video recording and would prefer not to be live on video during just part of it, you could put up a static image. The last option is to choose the resolution of your recording. By default, it is set to auto, where it chooses the highest resolution your internet connection will allow. As I was viewing it, it said internet speed is very fast, and then it said auto 1080p. You can change the resolution from this area or in preferences. This reveals the options to go to lower resolutions of 720, 480, or 360p. Or if you want up to 4K HD, it shows those higher resolutions as a pro feature. Oddly, it does show 1080p HD as a pro feature, and yet I was on a free plan and it was giving me 1080p. I'm really confused because I did get an email after I wrote up these the notes on this, and it said your 1 week demo version of the pro version is going away in a couple of days. So they said they gave me the pro version, but I didn't ever try the 4K during the pro version trial. So anyway, I was getting 1080p. I actually think this is a service I might continue to pay for. Let's explain more before we get into that. I am really glad to see that they have a business model, because we definitely want to avoid the freebie services, as Bart calls them, and it's good to know that Loom has that business model for this freemium service. When Loom is launched, before and during the recording, you'll see a small menu sticking to the side of your screen. This menu isn't captured in your video, but it gives you quick access to some super important tools. The first button is to stop, which of course you'll need for every video. The second button is probably equally important. It's a restart button that lets you abandon what you've recorded and start over. There's a pause button, which is super handy when you want to, gather your thoughts instead of saying, or hunting around on screen for a menu. You've also got a trash can so you can completely abandon what you've recorded. The last button is a pencil, and when chosen, reveals a color palette to allow you to scribble on screen to draw the viewer's attention. Quite reasonably, the scribbles disappear after a second or two. Personally, I suggest measured usage of such a tool and use your words as much as possible to draw attention to the pertinent parts of your screen. It can be really distracting if somebody's just flailing around with a red pencil. Once you've got your camera, mic, and video resolution sorted, you simply tap the giant red Start Recording button and go to town. When you're finished and hit stop, nearly instantaneously your video is ready to view in your personal library at loom.com. Name your video, grab the link offered to you, and send it off. No messing around with compressing videos, no making sure you have enough online storage for the size video you just created, no waiting 45 minutes for it to upload. You are already done. Sometimes you end up with a smidge of dead air at the beginning of a recording, or you capture your mouse looking for the stop button, so Loom allows you to trim your video right through the web interface. Just trim the, top and tail it, as Don always says. You can allow or disallow comments and email notifications. You can allow emoji reactions and change whether the viewer can download your video. You automatically get access to how many views you've gotten on a video, and you can choose whether viewers can see that data as well. You can create what they call a call to action button that will be viewable while somebody is hovering over your video. This button can link viewers to an external site. I was recently asking some questions about using Keyboard Maestro in our Slack to add missing functionality to Apple Photos. I was testing a Keyboard Maestro script that the wonderful Mike Price made for me, and it wasn't working, so I used Loom to demonstrate the problem I was seeing. I was able to add a call to action button that linked directly back to the original question in Slack. I thought that was awesome. If you've got something recorded that you don't want the general public to be able to view, you can add a password or set the privacy to custom access, where you enter the email address of the people you want to be able to view your video. Going back to the app on the Mac, there's a lot of settings, but I'd like to highlight just a few of them for you. By default, system audio is not captured, but sometimes you really would like it captured, so you can turn that on. You can highlight mouse clicks, which is a much better way of drawing attention than scribbling with a pencil. Back on the system audio, one of the things I love to do with capturing system audio is to capture to capture voiceover. So it's a nice way to show a vendor like, hey, nope, don't vamp that. Don't vamp that, because don't wing. I was winging it, and this is not accessible. Back on the system audio, yeah, I just made that up. That is something I like to do.
I think Kevin needs a no vamping command.
I just want another sip of my RBG gin and tonic. All right. By default, the camera is set to flip. This is a tricky setting. If it's not flipped, then it's not a reflection of you, and if you try pointing at anything in your surroundings, you will get it wrong 100% of the time. On the other hand, if it is flipped, then any text will appear to be reversed. Now, this sounds unimportant for your webcam, but it can be very distracting if there's text in view, like you've got words on your shirt, for example. By default, Loom sets your Mac to Do Not Disturb right when you hit record, which I think is an awesome feature. I can't tell you how many times I've had to start over on making a recording because I forgot to turn on Do Not Disturb. Quite politely, Loom turns notifications back on when you're done recording. If you prefer to use keyboard shortcuts, Loom has you covered. They have keyboard shortcuts for toggling start and stop of recording, pause, resume of recording, cancel recording, restart recording, and draw with that colored pencil I told you not to use very much of. They've also got 2 keyboard shortcuts I really don't understand. You can supposedly take a selected area or full screen snapshot, but for the life of me, I wasn't able to invoke either of those options, whether I was recording or not. It's possible I took 28 screenshots while testing this and they're buried somewhere on my disk or maybe somewhere on Loom's website, but I never found them. I only have one bad thing to say about Loom, and it's that unless I'm mistaken, it is 100% inaccessible. I can't get VoiceOver to read out loud a single thing in this menu bar app. Now, you might think a blind person has no need to make videos, but you just couldn't be more wrong. Whether I can see or not, I need to be able to demonstrate what's going on my computer screen to send to developers or teach people or whatever darn reason a sighted person would need to do with a video, a blind person would need to use it as well. Now that I have that off my chest, I'll switch gears to tell you what I was delighted to find out, that Loom has iOS and Android apps as well. You can't record picture-in-picture like you can with the desktop app, but rather they harness 2 built-in features of the mobile operating system. On iOS, you can obviously record video from your camera and store it locally, but if you start from inside the Loom app, it is automatically put on the Loom website. They call it broadcasting, and I think that's how it's actually up on the website nearly instantaneously. The other built-in capability they use on iOS is the ability to do screen recording. Normally, you have to node Open Control Center and configure where Control Center is on your particular model of iPhone, select the unnamed icon that represents screen recording, enable recording of your voice, and then start recording and swipe Control Center away. With Loom, tapping on screen recording automatically launches essentially what looks just like the built-in screen recording function. However, in the middle, it shows you it's going to save that broadcast to Loom. They remind you to enable Do Not Disturb, and I'm presuming that's because Apple Sandboxing probably doesn't allow them to do it for you. When you're done recording using the Loom app on iOS, you don't get many options to modify the video other than renaming, downloading, or deleting the video. To do the fancy stuff like trimming and changing access controls, you'll have to go to the website. It's not a big deal, but I wasted a bit of time searching for those capabilities in the Loom app. Sadly, I have to report that the iOS app isn't accessible for VoiceOver users either. A few of the elements are accidentally labeled, but the important buttons like choosing whether to record with a screen or camera are not accessible at all. You can bet that the developers of Loom will be getting a helpful suggestion for improvement from me. I find that angry finger wags are not as successful in bringing change as thorough explanations of the problem with improvement ideas. Now, I'm sold on using Loom for recording videos when I need to share them with someone quickly. Let's talk about the pricing, though, before I close this out. The free basic plan allows you to record and keep up to 25 videos along with the features I've described. If you go for the Pro account at only $8 a month, you get unlimited videos and you get more advanced recording and editing capabilities. I think that's bananas for $8 a month. That's a really good price. If you're in education, Terry and Marty, the Pro version is free. They've also got Loom for Teams, which gives you everything in Pro, plus a team video library, custom branding, and more. If you're an enterprise customer, they say, let's talk. I am so happy they have a variety of well-priced paid plans to help support the free tier like this. It's a very cool service, and when it's made accessible, I'll be able to give Loom my 100% badge of approval. You can find Loom at H. Oh, come on. How hard is that? I had one more word to say. You can find Loom at loom.com.
Well, it was a long word. Compound.
I know. It was a big word. It was kind of hard. Hopefully, Marianne hears the podcast and will be mad that I didn't call her out for being in education. Marty isn't here this week, is he? Well, he'll hear it on the podcast. Any other teachers here? It's hot in my office.
Well, how about Sandy?
Sandy used to be a teacher.
Well, that counts.
Do you know any teachers? Right, but I mean, she wouldn't get the education discount. But it is a cool service.
Oh, it's not discount for life?
It should be, right?
It should, yes.
Yeah, it's. I thought it was really cool. All right. We get to do a chapter mark again. I am now looking forward to chapter marks. You know?
Yes.
You want to see it again?
Let's see it. Let's do. I got you full screen.
Okay, here we go. So I'll come over here. Whoop. There we go. All right, here we go. Command, Control, Option, Shift, H. And I hear a beep. Copy link. Copy. Nothing up my sleeve.
Wow, that is impressive.
You guys aren't seeing it, but I'm holding my hands up like this every time, so you can see that I'm not doing it. It's fun to watch the excitement of making a chapter mark. Oh, it is. I mean, it's really like stopping banging your head against a wall.
Well,
I'm just sad I don't have more chapter marks.
How many keystrokes is it if you don't have the shortcuts? Like 8? 10?
Let's see. So let's see. I have to hit. Actually, I will tell you what it is exactly. I wrote it down. I've got a blog post started about the topic. Sometimes I read a lot of stuff that I never finish. Where is Ulysses? Is that
Hello, Rose? Rose finally. I think Rose is buying tonight.
Yeah, you're really late tonight, sweetie.
Shardy's on the house. The house is Rose.
Here we go. Okay, so the normal procedure. Boy, I wrote a lot. Why didn't I publish this? Okay, in Hindenburg, hit Command-Shift-Enter, then hit Command-Tab to switch to Mars Edit, right-click to choose Copy Link, Command-C to copy the title, Command-Tab to switch back to Hindenburg, click on the track to turn it blue so it'll pay attention to me, hit Shift-Control-Option-V to run my old Keyboard Maestro command to paste in all the fields.
That was 8 steps.
That's using the Keyboard Maestro shortcut that I built. There's more steps if you do the whole thing.
If you did it by hand with no shortcuts, it's probably 12 or 13.
I have to go back and forth. Even with a clipboard manager, it doesn't help.
Yeah.
I gotta move that to the top of my planned blog post. Anyway, that's interesting. Do you know you can have Ulysses open twice? Huh.
Ooh. 2 instances.
Yeah, I don't think you're allowed to do that, are you?
Did you break the space-time continuum?
Maybe. All right, what do I want? Okay, this is a good one. You guys are going to like this one. The title is Your Zoom Drinking Parties Need an Agenda.
Nice.
Oh, so you know what? This would be way better if I'd put the right chapter mark in. But no, it's actually better because that means I get to do it again. Hey, Marty, should we check and see what happens if I put the wrong one in and I replace it? Let's do it. Because this is going to be a mess because it's going to go right on top of the one we already had.
You duplicated the previous one?
Yeah. I think this actually does right over it. He put in a thing to make this have he says no. Really? Do you mean no or do you mean no? I'm just scared. He put in this
He means don't do it. Don't do it.
Okay, I won't do it.
4 exclamations. He really means it.
Okay, he put in this whole section called panic where I would have to actively hit a key to say, no, I really mean to do it, just in case you had your cursor on top of one that you already did. That's okay. I get to do it again. Here we go. Actually, no, show my face too, because this is good stuff. You want to see the whole thing.
Well, it's kind of small.
Regular.
But
That's okay, but you got to
Okay.
see. I'm not using my hands. Okay,
Okay.
ready? Command Shift Control Option H. Whoops, nope. You got to be in focus first. Got to be here. Here we go. All right, your Zoom drinking party needs an agenda. Copy link. Copy.
nice.
Steve and I are not responsible for incorrect chapter markers.
Not in the least. It's out. It's
No,
out
Mike
of our
is.
hands at this point.
Mike's worried about his entire reputation being destroyed by having me live use his tool. So, all right, this will be a fun one. Steve, you can add your excitement to this after. All right, muting Steve. God, it's sweaty. Feels like doom here. All right, here we go. Nope. Gotta be Marma track. That's weird. Why is the microphone slider down at 0? I bet that's why I'm not getting doubling on that track, Steve. Remember we were getting that
What's
weird
that?
doubling? Remember
Yeah.
we were getting that weird doubling in my microphone? Look on the left side. Full screen Hindenburg.
Yeah.
Look on the left side. My microphone's down to 0.
But you're still able to record into Hindenburg.
Right, so the second channel is coming through. I'm having a problem that 2 channels are coming through on some applications kind of out of phase.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and check that. All right, muting Steve. Okay, here we go. No. I don't think I can really pull a tech angle out of this next idea. But I'm going to tell you about it anyway, because it's my show and I can talk about whatever I want to. Like many people, we only meet our friends in video these days. 6 of us decided early on to get together for a glass of wine and a chat every Wednesday. Because we're clever that way, we named it Wine Wednesday. Because group FaceTime chats are pretty much a dumpster fire, we gave up on that and we chose Zoom as our video chat platform. Now for the problem to be solved. Have you noticed that nearly every conversation you get into, no matter how benign at the beginning, eventually devolves into talking about the pandemic? Seriously, you can call someone to ask if they've seen the latest episode of Ted Lasso, and within a few minutes, you'll end up talking about infection rates. Just in case it slipped past your notice, I like to control things around me, including my interactions with people. When we started Wine Wednesday, I wanted desperately to make it the one spot in my week where for, like 45 minutes or so, I wouldn't have to think about the virus. I decided that we should have a written agenda for Wine Wednesday, and I'm going to try to convince you that you should too. The rules I set up are as follows. Agenda items are to be submitted to me by noon on Wednesday. Late submissions are to be arbitrated by the entire committee before acceptance to the agenda for that evening. The agenda will be typed in Comic Sans font just to be annoying, and no subjects even obliquely concerning the virus will be allowed. The result of these controlling rules are that for 21 weeks, we have had a glass of wine and chatted about some really interesting subjects, a couple of which have actually saved some of us some real money. I can't recommend this idea enough, and I'm going to try to convince you by listing off some of the more enjoyable, interesting, and time-saving subjects we've covered on Wine Wednesday. Wine Wednesday started on April 22nd, 2020, and back then the terrific YouTube show Some Good News with John Krasinski was still being produced. We had required homework that first week to play the episode where John hosted an online prom for kids who weren't going to get to have their own this year. The headline in the agenda was entitled, "I'm Not Crying, You're Crying." One week, a member had a squirrel scale the wall on the front of his house, and he described the odd situation of having a squirrel stuck on your balcony and no way to help it get back down. There was no redeeming value to this particular discussion, but it was pretty entertaining. The most productive discussion we've had so far was when one member asked to add an agenda item to discuss how did you decide whether or not to have earthquake insurance. Now, this specific type of insurance may not apply to you, but you can replace it earthquake with flood, fire, tornado, famine, whatever natural disaster is likely to take down your house. As we discussed the logic each of us had applied to this problem of deciding about whether or not to have earthquake insurance, our squirrel house owner explained that since the dwelling on his property was only assessed at being about 30 to 40% of the value of his entire property, he figured it was better to just self-insure. That percentage seemed logical since the property values in California beach cities are driven mostly by the land and that land's proximity to the ocean. But Steve and I were pretty sure our percentage was much higher on our insurance. We reviewed our policy and discovered that on our policy, it had the dwelling at more like 85% of the value of the entire property. Steve called our insurance adjuster, who's not really the sharpest spoon in the drawer, if you know what I mean, and luckily he got his brother instead. The brother reviewed the numbers and he agreed. He said this wasn't right at all. He gave us a way to describe a lot of details about the dwelling so he could give us a new quote. The price in our earthquake insurance came down $600 per year as a result. And get this, our homeowner's insurance also had the assessed value of the house as way too high of a percentage, so it dropped another $600 per year. So we had a savings of $1,200 per year because Wine Wednesday was talking about interesting things. I bought 3 really nice bottles of wine and delivered them to the homes of the members of Wine Wednesday in appreciation. The next subject I want to talk about was called the Moo Bag Arch of PlayDoh. That's what it read in the show notes. I'm sorry, in the agenda. I say show notes too often, don't I? Anyway, in the agenda, the Moo Bag Arch of PlayDoh. This was a play on words from a game of charades we played over 40 years ago. Steve and I were supposed to be keeping an eye on his much younger sister while his parents were away on vacation. We were friends with a couple of the members of Wine Wednesday way back then, so we invited them over to keep us company. We played charades, the boys against the girls, and the clues had to be written out ahead of time. One of the guys quite obnoxiously put in the clue for the girls to do the book The Gulag Archipelago, and Steve's 12-year-old sister drew that card. Of course, she had no idea that these were basically like real words, but darn it if she didn't sound out every single syllable by syllable until we guessed the answer. I think it took about a half hour, but it was pretty hilarious. Anyway, the reason the Moo Bag Arch of PlayDoh was on the agenda was because it was a request for each of us to give a 1-minute review of a book we'd read recently. We learned a lot about other fun books people were reading. Another great cost savings discussion came up when one member showed off her new glasses and told us about Zenni Optical. You may remember me doing a review of Zenni Optical and how I got glasses for less than 1/6 the price of my normal glasses. This idea, like the insurance changes, will be a gift that keeps on giving. Would we have ever learned about these things if we'd been allowed to talk about the pandemic? I submit that we would not. We had an agenda item entitled Nuts or Not. We had a heated debate on the merits of zucchini bread versus banana bread and the merits of nuts in our fruit or vegetable breads. I think in the end, a compromise was reached, and we all agreed on chocolate chips as what should be in any kind of tasty bread. As we are an aged bunch, one week we discussed how to decide when to take Social Security. Of course, there's the fear of whether it'll go away before we get our grubby hands on the money, but there's also the math on making the decision. Luckily, one of our members is a mathematician and an engineer, and she had modeled the various age options with assumptions for likely investment percentages and was able to advise us on how to make our own model. For privacy reasons, I won't discuss our decision, but it was very helpful to have people against whom to bounce these ideas and to test our own assumptions. Perhaps this next subject danced a bit too close to discussing the pandemic, but it was a very productive context. We shared our thoughts and concerns on when it would be safe to go back to having preventative medical checkups. This was back in June, and back then none of us had the nerve to go to a physical, a well-woman checkup, an ophthalmology, colonoscopy, or dentist appointments. I don't know if it would have been safe back then, but again, having other people with science backgrounds with whom we could discuss these risks, benefits, and what questions to ask before agreeing to go in was fantastic. Also, being science-minded, we all love a good comet. When Comet Neowise came by, we all went out to watch on the same night at the same time and texted each other while we were watching it. It was a wonderful shared experience, even if we weren't technically standing next to each other. It was important to us to share this experience because we'd seen Comet Kohoutek, Halley's Comet, and Hale-Bopp together over the years. Maybe it's because I've been locked up in my house for a long time with nowhere to go, but I find myself thinking often about my favorite appliance, tools, and kitchen gadgets. We've had a few discussions where we each pick a favorite in a category. We've talked about our vacuums, I know that for sure. Probably the most enjoyable one was when our squirrel housing friend showed us his new microwave popcorn bowl, the Popco. Popco is a flexible silicone bowl that collapses down to be only about 2 to 3 inches tall, so it's easy to put away. It has a lid that you drop inside. It's again a silicone, rubbery sort of lid, and you drop it inside, and then it slowly rises as the popcorn pops. This was such a popular topic that we all bought our own Popcos, all in different colors. $14 was a small price to pay to find a new way to make popcorn. I got to tell you, the instructions say it doesn't need any oil to pop. While that's true, I find that without oil, it's really hard to get the salt to stick. I tried olive oil in my Popco, and it worked just fine. I still like making popcorn with olive oil in a pot on the stove a little bit better, but I took my Popco to Lindsay's where she has an electric stove, and I haven't been able to make popcorn there. You see, my little buddy Forbes and I, we love our popcorn, so now we can make popcorn anytime we want. After listening to Tom Merritt's awesome episode of Know a Little More when he explained 5G, I was able to give a report out to the group on which is better, LTE or 5G. Nope, I'm not going to tell you the answer. You should go listen to Tom explain it because it's fascinating and surprising. I don't just know a little more about 5G, I know a lot more about 5G. One of our members is a sort of futuristic big thinker type. One week he talked to us about connected pool tables, where he'd be able to play pool with someone in a different location. It sounds pretty far-fetched, but he described the technologies behind the idea pretty well. One week he brought up the idea of whether electric vehicles could be used to make or to buffer home electricity needs. His idea is that you charge up your electric vehicle during off-peak hours, and then the house uses that battery to run during on-peak hours. Maybe it's even available to you as a power source for the house during a power outage. Heck, the Tesla Powerwall is basically one of their car batteries set up on the side of your house, right? I thought it was a cool idea, and it was just a fun intellectual discussion. Speaking of Tesla, when Elon Musk had his Battery Day announcements, Wine Wednesday asked Steve to attend the virtual event and to do a report back to the group. Steve took his assignment very seriously. He came prepared with photos and charts to explain what he learned. Guess you can't take the program manager out of the boy. One of the risks of having other people shop for you when you're old farts like us and you're afraid to go outdoors is that you can't really control the volume of the food the shopper chooses. When we asked for thick-cut pork chops one week, they brought us 6. Each one was actually gluttony. I mean, we should not have eaten a whole one, so we had 6. So we asked the group if anyone wanted some. 2 of the members said they'd love to eat them, but only if someone cooked them for them. Turns out one of our members is a master of Sous Vide. This is that technology that allows you to very slowly cook meat at a very, very low temperature, and it's supposed to make the meat super tender. When we heard that one of our members was such a master, that became a discussion topic for a session of Wine Wednesday, where we discussed important topics like, how come you don't die of eating meat that's only been cooked at 250 degrees? After a discussion, Steve borrowed her sous vide, and he's cooked a few tasty treats for me, and was delighted enough that we bought the Anova Precision Cooker Nano from Best Buy after following a link from the Wirecutter who recommended it highly. And of course, there's a link in the show notes. The Anova was only $130, and it's a pretty small cylinder, and it's even app-enabled, so you can check up on it. He's going to make me filet mignon this week, and I can't wait. One of our members, the ones with the squirrel on deck, has become obsessed with the fat bear contest going on at the Katmai National Park right now. Evidently, they've been running this contest for years. The idea is that these bears go to the river and eat salmon to fatten up for the winter. This year, there's an enormous number of salmon, and the bears are really getting huge. Our friend keeps the live video feed going on while he's working, just watching these animals open their mouths and wait for the fish to jump in. Anyway, the contest is at explore.org, and just search for Fat Bear Week if you want to join in the fun and vote. By the way, there were 1,359 people watching the live video feed of the bears in the river while I was working on this article. I think my single favorite subject for Wine Wednesday was entitled Planned Pumpkin Parenthood. One of our members asked for this agenda item because she has a small plot of land in a community garden area, which she has named The Farm. In her presentation, again, there's presentations because, we're all engineers, she showed us that there are actually girl pumpkins and boy pumpkins, which we did not know. She explained that if you want to have baby pumpkins, the boy pumpkin has to get his pumpkin flower near the girl pumpkin to make the magic happen. In subsequent meetings of Wine Wednesday, she has shown us her rapidly growing baby pumpkins as a result of her meddling in nature. You could just imagine how silly we all got while she described the whole process. The bottom line is just what I said up front. If you're finding that your conversations always go down the path of doom and gloom, maybe you want to start making agendas for your video calls with your friends. I've learned a lot, I've laughed a lot, and even saved a lot of money as a result. Also, we drink wine. Whew. Did you guys like it? Oh, you put a link to the bears?
And the contest.
John says video and audio and YouTube are out of sync.
Yeah, your audio and video are out of sync for some reason.
Only me? Is Steve fine?
My video looks good to me. Yours.
Well, mine looks good to me. Actually, no, it doesn't. Mine looks bad in Mimo Live.
You're about 2 seconds behind.
Yep. I don't know. I give up. Steve sounds perfect to me. Shockingly, Kevin is saying that you're fine. I can't. My cup is.
Your Wi-Fi is
condensing
off, right?
crazy. Yes.
Okay.
Second time you asked me.
Good.
Okay, Frank loved the Wine Wednesday story. There's no tech angle in there at all, except I said Zoom, right?
Well, there's some tech items in there.
Like what?
Well, the
Sous
sous
vide?
vide maker.
Actually, you should go get it.
Bluetooth enabled.
Yeah, you should go get your sous vide.
All right. I'll go. Oh,
Are
actually,
you okay if I do the chapter
I'm
mark
actually
without
using
you?
it right now. I can't
Oh,
get
you
it
can't.
because it's
That's
in
right.
use.
You can take a picture and come back.
I posted it. I
Oh, you
posted
did?
it in the chat room.
Oh, okay. The link.
Yeah,
Okay.
which shows a
Well,
photo of
I
it.
get to do another chapter mark here.
Okay, let me go full screen. on
Wait,
it.
I got to put in. Let me. Well, no, I can put in the chapter mark first. Okay, we ready? The excitement.
Hit it.
Here we go. Preview. All right, it's time for security bits. Here we go. Okay, keystroke. God, this makes me so happy. Copy link. Copy. It's 1, 2. That's like 3, and that's it.
Boom.
That is just a beautiful thing. It's just.
I think
will
Mike
not
has
ever
made
get over
your
this.
not your day, your week, but maybe your year.
I could find you an agenda app. No, I do it in Pages and it's in Comic Sans. The thing I didn't say in the article, because I had all the members read it ahead of time, to make sure they were okay with me sharing this private information. Every single episode or every single agenda there's an asterisk in the title, and down at the bottom in little tiny writing, I write really funny things, and nobody has ever commented about it. Have you ever noticed it, Steve?
Yes.
You're lying. You've never noticed it, have you?
No. But I will.
Every single one of them has had a joke about something in the show notes. But you can't trust
Interesting.
this group. I bet a lot of them have seen it, because I remember one week, I think we were talking about Saturday Night Live, and I changed my name to like Lorraine Newman, and one by one,
You mean
every
in the
one
Zoom
of
call?
the members. Yeah, in the Zoom call, I changed my name from Allison to say Lorraine Newman. No, I'm sure I picked Gilda Radner. One by one, everybody changed their names to one of the characters of the Not Ready for Primetime Players.
The original cast.
Yeah. All right, security bits intro.
All right.
If I said how happy those chapter marks make me?
No, I couldn't tell. You should express that a little better.
Yeah, I should. I should go find the audio. So I'm not going to do a pledge break, because the very beginning of this is basically a wonderful pledge break about you guys. Bart says something really fun at the beginning here. So let me see how he did on his recording this time. I'm going to go full screen on Hindenburg because it's more interesting than this. So option T. Jill, did you know that option T is because of me? Rosanna
Hindenburg.
Dana, there you go. The fact that you can split tracks with a keystroke of option T is because of me. Oh, Allison's back in sync. Huh.
Let's check that.
That's what he said.
Yeah, pretty close.
I don't like. Yeah, it's close. Okay, we're gonna do a vote. You're gonna have to listen. This is gonna be a little hard to listen to, but I'm gonna play a few seconds of my recording of Bart, and then a few seconds of Bart's recording of Bart. Okay, are you ready? Listen, listen closely, Steve, because one of the first one's mine, and the second one's his. Bart.
Well, strangely enough, lengthwise, it's no longer than normal, so I may have missed a third of the news.
Okay.
Second one. Bart.
Well, strangely enough, lengthwise, it's no longer than normal, so I may have missed a third of the news.
It's hard to compare because
right, Bart? What?
the second one was so much louder. But
well, that's the problem with it. Look at it. This one's actually peaking. Listen again. So if you listen,
and you can't bring down that volume for comparison purposes. Or is that hard to do?
It's actually lower. It's already, the gain is already low on that. I think
Sounds
part
louder.
of the problem is.
Wow.
Listen to how
Are
it's
you sure?
peaking. Look at it. Do you see how tall that thing is, and how tall that one is? The gain is down. So if I grab the gain, it's at -9.
Bring it
This
way
one, the
down
gain is at
for comparison.
-5.
Bring it way down just to make sure we're actually reducing its volume. Okay. Wow.
Hey, Bart. I think it sounds better on mine.
All right.
You don't think so?
It's hard to tell. I can't compare them until the volumes are comparable.
They are. All right. Let's see if I can see. Watch where his. Let's see how high this goes.
Well, strangely enough,
They're both playing.
I know. Okay, here we go.
Bart? Well, strangely enough.
Okay, that says -15, -12. Let me mute this one and unmute this one.
Well,
So the top one, this one is actually louder than this
Okay.
one. That's how distorted
Okay,
that one
now that
sounds.
they're comparable, one more time.
No, they're not comparable. This one's lower.
Okay, but audio, they sound close enough that I can now compare.
Okay, they were closer, but you've got them not closer now, but I'll do it. Okay, this one is my recording. Bart.
Well, strangely enough, lengthwise, it's no longer than normal, so I may have missed a third of the news.
Hey, Kevin. Okay, listen now with the other one. Bart.
Well, strangely enough, lengthwise, it's no longer than normal, so I may have missed a third of the news.
Okay, so other than that initial exasperation, I think the second one sounds
Second one's better.
Yeah.
Well, listen to this. Listen to this one now. Out here, he's peaking a lot.
It just seems like I was expecting this to be an epic essay of a thing. And
Did you hear that epic essay
Yeah,
of a
go ahead with
epic
yours.
essay?
It just seems like I was expecting this to be an epic essay of a thing.
Okay, so what you're comparing a continuous slight distortion with occasional peaking. So take your pick.
You like his better?
I don't
do
know
it.
how much he peaks, so it
He
sounds
peaks
like
all
he
the
may.
time.
So
Nope,
I would go
nope,
with yours.
Steve likes it better. Nope. That's not what you said. All right. Okay, let me hear how that sounds together. Short, right, Bart? Whoop, you gotta not mute. $1 short, right, Bart?
Well, strangely enough, missed a third of the news.
You have the feeling something must be missing if it's not long?
It
Okay, I think there's a little bit of a lag there.
So did he change his audio setup?
No, this happens all the time. Missing if it's not long?
it just seems like I was expecting.
No,
I think he's.
we don't actually understand why this happens. He and I've worked on this extensively. Because I'm recording through Skype, and I think what's happening, and actually this happened with Jill and me. Skype appears to be bringing the peaks down, and it doesn't seem like it should be able to do that. If he's peaking on his end, I shouldn't have a better version than him. That's not possible.
Right.
Sandy says there's almost an echo. I wonder which version that was in. Well, I'm going to play this opening now. Now you can hear the opening. Well, it's that time of the week again. It's time for Security Bits with Bart Bouchot's a week late, but not $1 short, right, Bart?
Well, strangely enough, lengthwise, it's no longer than normal, so I may have missed a third of the news.
You have the feeling something must be missing if it's not long?
It just seems like I was expecting this to be an epic essay of a thing, and the scroll bars are civilized sized.
All right, well, good. Looks like you gave me something to chew on, too, and I always like those.
I did. I actually padded out one bit to make it into a nice security medium. But before we get to that, last week...
You just changed your mind, didn't you?
Well, I didn't know how much he's going to peak.
I told you, he peeks all the time. All right.
Yeah, you went with the other one.
Undo. I still don't understand how I'm able to have a better recording of him than he does, and we don't know the answer to this. We've looked at this.
What he's sending to Skype may be in a different part of the audio path than what he's transmitting.
But we can't figure out how that's
or
happening.
what he's recording.
We have studied what he does, and we cannot figure it out. I think it's a problem with his iMic. Actually, he uses an iMic to plug his mic in,
that's
but I
pretty
haven't
old
convinced him that.
technology.
It's very old. All right, let's hear this again. Also, we drink wine. Well, it's that time of the week again.
Ooh,
It's time
little
for
fast.
Security Bits with Bart Bouchot's a week late, but not $1
Maybe a
short,
little
right,
fast.
Bart?
Yep.
Oh, I cut in too soon?
Yeah, right. You didn't give it little.
Well, it's that time. Yes, you're right. Okay. Well, it's that time of the week again. It's time for security. Oh my God, that's too long now, isn't it?
Yes. In between those two.
Apparently, we're never going to look at Steve's Mike's code because Steve wants to listen to this. Well, it's that time of the week again. It's time for Security Bits with Bart Bouchot. Okay, I want to jump ahead to because he says something fun here too, and I always like those.
I did. I actually padded out one bit to make it into a nice security medium. But before we get to that...
Okay, that's compression distortion.
I want to say something, A, to you, and B, to the audience. You did something last week that blew my socks off.
What's that?
You told the amazing NosillaCastaways to go to my Patreon. I did. Just out of the blue, I was just listening to the podcast, utterly enjoying the podcast, and you gave me the best plug I have ever heard. And it was just amazing. And my inbox lit up this week with Patreon.
Yay!
All right.
All right. Good job, NosillaCastaways. That's
Nice.
great.
So the NosillaCastaways rock as much as you do.
Yeah, you know, I do actually say it on the end of every programming by stealth. I say not to go to my Patreon, go to Bart's, because Bart does all of the heavy lifting. But I realized I rarely say it on the NosillaCast, where they get the value of security bits. And like I've always said, I'm pretty sure if I split Security Bits off as a show, nobody would listen to the NosillaCast. They'd only listen to Security Bits.
I would. I always fast forward by security bits.
Well, that's good. Well, I'm glad. NosillaCastaways, you rock. Thanks for supporting Bart. If it's a show, nobody...
Good job, NosillaCastaways.
Good job,
All
NosillaCastaways. Oh, that reminds me. I have a show and tell. Look what I had
Look
made.
at that, baby. That is a book. Reference
with
manual.
the authors on the back. Look at this. I had this printed at Lulu Press. You can print a book. You upload the book and you can have it printed.
So why did you go with the spiral bound, Al?
Because it's a reference book, right? So you can do this and lay it out flat on your desk. You can spiral it around, you can take notes in it if you're, a heathen who writes in books. But I want you to appreciate.
Also,
this
if you have an update, you could add a page or two.
Well, that's what I thought, and then I started picturing trying to spiral this through 384 plus pages, and I don't know if I will. But I want you to listen to how big this book is. Oh, that wasn't as good. I got to do it closer to the mic. I did it right under the mic when. Whoops, that was just me hitting the mic.
That's a big book.
Ready? Here we go.
That's pretty. It actually shook the camera.
It is so pretty. I mean, look at the graphics in it. It's all in color. It's got syntax highlighting. It is just such a cool thing. So I had it done through.
Hey, who did that logo?
Oh yeah, Steve wants everybody to look at his logo. That is really the hardest part of it. I mean, I can't believe your picture isn't on the back.
That actually makes the book. Yeah, where is my
does.
picture? I just noticed that.
So I chose. You've got special credit in the intro, but can you add pages? Well, you could. I mean, if you can get them spiral cut again.
So those things actually are split, so you can open them up, or is it totally spiral?
Oh, it's totally spiral.
It's a total. Wow, that's a lot of
of
turns.
Yeah, I don't know if you'd really be able to do that, but you lost the copy and paste feature. Yeah, definitely. But the thing, what's amazing about this, so I chose for the spiral choice, I chose the most expensive version with like the color graphics inside and the shiny, extra
Thick
heavyweight
pages.
paper and everything, the glossy cover and everything. And this was $65, I think. No, it was less than that. Shoot, I gotta find out. It was really inexpensive considering this is basically a textbook.
Do you get a volume discount?
So what's interesting, this was to have one made. They
Right,
just
I'm
printed
saying
one book.
if you did 100, would it be the same price?
I don't know. What I'm going to look at is the problem with Lulu Press is they're really good about giving you lots of options. So I got paralyzed. There were I could have this book available in this form in Amazon if I wanted. You could do it on your own website. You can host it at Lulu. There's so many options. So we're looking at a way to put that up. So there was a way to let other people have the book if they wanted to.
Cool.
So, that
well
is cool.
done.
Okay.
That's a work of art and love.
Yep.
By several people.
Yeah. So I'm going to talk soon about the
Translate to German.
Yeah. 3-ring punch so pages could be added. I don't know if they have a 3-ring version. That would be interesting. All right, I need to read us out, and then we get to see Mike's code.
Oh, okay.
If Mike is okay with us seeing his code.
Let's do this.
All right, here we go. Well, that is going to wind us up for this week. Don't forget to send in your dumb questions, comments, and suggestions by emailing me at allison@podfeet.com. And you can follow me on Twitter at podfeet. Remember, everything good starts with podfeet.com. You want to become a Patreon? Go over to Bart's Patreon first. But if you've already done it, you want to give me some money to help show the value you find out of the show, podfeet.com/Patreon. If you want to do a one-time donation, podfeet.com/PayPal. Want to join our Slack community? So many people came in with the conversation I had last time about how cool it is. We got a whole bunch of new members. 3 blind guys came in, and that was fun because they were all talking to each other about how to use the accessibility on it. It was fantastic. And you get to that by going to podfeet.com/Slack. If you still like Facebook, podfeet.com/Facebook is still alive and kicking. And after I did that article, all of a sudden the Facebook group started taking off and everybody was having fun. So both are perfectly valid. And if you want to join in the fun of the live show, head on over to podfeet.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time and join the friendly and enthusiastic NosillaCastaways. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. Vocal Fry.
Good job. Oh, by the way, I did change the which to who in that blog post.
Oh, did you? Thank you.
Yeah.
You saw me catch that?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I wanted to go back and get that.
People are not objects.
Stay subscribed. Okay, Facebook has never been valid. I know, I just like to, I don't want the Facebook people to feel bad, right?
Hey.
So, Mike, are you okay if I promised everybody, are you okay if I show them the code?
I think he said yes.
All right, absolutely. Yep. Cool. All right, so the way I'm going to do this, I guess I just put it on top of wherever
Hindenburg is.
Wherever Hindenburg is. All right, so this is the Keyboard Maestro window. And I've got a Hindenburg Shortcuts group, and this is Grumpy's Hindenburg chapter marks. And I can show it to you this way, but let's go into Edit. And I'm not even sure how to explain. The first time I saw this, I started trying to read it and understand. But it starts with a hotkey that you're going to press, and that's this Command Option Shift Control H and swing a dead cat around your head. That's what starts it off. And he's got this thing called semaphore locks, which I thought I understood, but then I gave him my analogy, and he said it wasn't quite right. He's got a bunch of alerts going on. I'm just going to scroll by here, but it starts with Hindenburg. He's got great comments in here. Using Safari, but Podfeet will want to change this to Mars Edit, which is what I did right here. Whoops.
I hope
Right
you're not
here,
in
that
edit
little-
mode.
I am.
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
So then,
Please don't play.
again, I gotta just go through the comments. Grab the chapter mark URL from the keyboard. Select and copy it.
Good,
He's
Mike.
got a real interesting typo in there. I haven't figured out yet. Let me keep going. Grab the chapter mark after alerting the user. Switch back to Hindenburg. Ensure the chapter marker is open. Activate. Okay, here we go. Create a chapter mark. Look what it says. Do as Kevin commands.
Nice. Beautiful.
All right. Right here. Places, everyone. Places. Now would be a good time to ask Sandy if everything looks okay. Everything should be all set to update the chapter mark that was just created. However, if the playhead was on an existing chapter mark or there's a stray user taking focus, stray user click taking focus from the newly created chapter mark, this can all go south in a hurry. And then we would all need to shame Grumpy in public. He would not want that. We will give Podfeet a few moments to make sure everything looks okay. If she notices something has gone astray, then she will hit the panic escape key. And at this point, it says, he's got a note. Podfeet is willing to accept occasional misfires, preferring the speeded updating of the chapter mark so the panic group is being disabled.
That should be in fine print. I'm curious. Does the panic button or command actually reverse everything you did? I'm not quite following the panic.
No, it just stops it. Well, that's where I got a little confused because there were two versions of panic. There was an escape or a long escape. And one of them meant one thing.
Stops it in his
okay,
tracks.
Steve says stops in his tracks. But there was escape and then there was long escape. He's going to explain what long escape I love that he's
Long
got this
escape
disclaimer
aborts. Just
in
get the
here.
heck out of Dodge.
Long escape aborts. Okay. So long escape aborts, but what did short escape do? Did that just give me a second to
Stops
think about
in
it?
its track.
No, that was long escape.
No. Long
Okay,
escape
he's about to
aborts. Fast escape just stops where you are.
Oh, no. Don't answer. Let Mike
Well,
answer.
he
Let you
did.
pick with the mouse. No, he just answered. All right, anyway, right here it says, Kevin is waiting. Sandy cannot protect you. I don't even understand what that one is, but I love it. So talk about inside baseball, little private jokes in the chat room. That's about as good as it gets, right? So anyway, I thank you so much, and I'm trying to convince Mike that he should come on and talk about Keyboard Maestro and how it works and how he was able to do it.
That is
It should be
impressive.
fun.
Well done, Mike.
I don't think I'll understand much of what he said. By the way, here is my Hindenburg.
He just said somewhere embedded in there is the sausage samurai.
Oh, is it? Okay, he claims there's search. Let me see if I can get search to work. Okay, so you type in the search, and then you got to find where it's got blue diagonal lines.
Well, the whole thing is
See
blue.
it, Mike. Right, around where the panic... Oh, maybe is it in panic? Since panic is grayed out, maybe it's in there.
Yeah, he said it's around where panic is.
Right.
But that whole
if
blue
it's
section
inside
is
there-
panic?
No, the blue section, somewhere in here is where the... Yeah, see, he claims this search thing works, and I don't know. I think since that group is out, it's... Oh, there it is. Here we go. Check for panic key. Did the sausage samurai make an appearance? If it did, the previous pause until did not time out, i.e. it was successful. There it is.
Nice.
I defend Mike. All right. Well, that's good stuff. Okay, I gotta hide that group because it scares me. All right, cool. Well, I think that's enough screwing around here. It is 6:09. It's late after class.
It sure is.
Showed off the book. We showed off Grumpy's chapter marks, and we will talk to you guys next week, possibly from San Diego, maybe back from home. It's a little, it's up in the air. We're not exactly sure how long we'll stay down there. But bye, Lindsay.
I think she left.
And bye, Rose.
Bye, Linz.
No, she's still in there.
Is she?
I still see her.
I don't see her. Okay.
Well, I don't care. She's in the sidebar, and she's green. She's still there.
All right, she's just not in
There,
the live show.
see?
Listen.
Lindsay, the daughter,
just
says
not
goodbye.
listening. All right.
She's watching the YouTube.
Let's sign us
All right,
out.
bye, everybody. Take care till next week.